Okay, so today we'll be starting with the module 4, right? So in the previous modules, in the first module, we learned what is management, right? What are an introduction to management? What are the different aspects of management? Like we learned an introduction to management. In that we have seen about in the manager uh, functions we have planning. The next thing is organizing, right? So in the second module we learned about the theories and ethics and how management came up to as what we see today. The third module was all about planning, that is how planning is done, what are different aspects of planning, so what are the planning steps in planning and the planning process. So always bear in mind planning step and planning process, both are different. Okay, and the fourth module we'll be learning about what is organizing. Okay? The second step, organizing to decision making. So ultimately we need to form a decision, and what does organizing do in that? What is the role of organizing? What is organizing? Organizing is a process of grouping the various activities to be done and assigning duties and responsibilities to people in groups or departments. Okay? So, what is organizing? Organizing is a process of grouping the various activities to be done and assigning duties and responsibilities to people in groups of departments. Okay? So, what does it mean? Mean we have taken an example of arts, right? So, whenever we want to conduct an art, what we do? We divide the work, right? We have different committees. We have a stage committee. We'll have the green room committee. We'll have a committee for programs. That is, on stage we'll have a committee. We'll have off stage we'll have another committee. Then to bring out the guest invitation, like that, we'll have another committee. Transportation we'll have another committee. So what are we doing there? So we are grouping the activities. We are organizing. Whenever you are organizing a artist, what we do? We will group the activities, right? Art, off stage, on stage, green room, then stage, transportation, like that. We are grouping the activities. So that's organizing. So organizing is a process of grouping the various activities to be done. So if we do all these activities, then only we can successfully conduct a arts fest, right? Then what we do, we'll assign duties and responsibility to people in groups or departments. So okay, you guys are in charge of arts. I mean, sorry, uh, stage. So we should be able, we should design this. We should have this much of space. How the layout should be like this. Okay. You guys are in charge of time scheduling. So we'll be having 2 days time. So chart accordingly. So we are assigning duties, roles and responsibilities. Okay. People in groups. So that is organizing. So inherently we are doing organizing every day in our life. Right? Organizing is a process of grouping the various activities to be done and assigning duties and responsibilities to people in groups of departments. So it involves determining what works are needed to accomplish the goal. So our goal is to conduct the arts. So what are the goals? What are needed to conduct that? So we need a stage, we need program, okay? We need good program. We need to screen the programs. That we need better programs to come. We need to screen the program. So we need a good judges. We need good judges. We need uh, a good guest to inaugurate our function. We need a DJ party. We have many works. So first is what is to be done? What are the works to be done? That is the first step. That is determining what works are to be done. Then assigning those works to individuals. So you are in charge of uh, green room. Okay? Green room. You are in charge of budget, finance. You have to take care like that. And arranging those individuals in decision making framework. Okay? And then what you have to do is you have to arrange those individuals in decision making framework. That is who has to answer to whom. Okay? Meaning who will answer to whom. That is in a stage department we'll have someone. Okay, you are in charge of decorating the stage. So that person will answer to the one who is having the charge of stage. As the overall coordinator will be there. He will be answering to him. The stage coordinator, he will be answering to the overall coordinator. Student coordinator will be there. The overall student coordinator will be answering to the staff coordinator. And then there will be who will answer to whom. So who will take the decisions. And there will be given the power to make decisions also. Right? The end result of the organization process is organization. So once we do this organizing, organization process. Once we done this with this, the result is we have formed an organization. So we have formed an organization for conducting arts, right? Here, so organization for decision making. Organization is the process of grouping the various activities to be done and assigning duties and responsibility to people in groups of departments. First, identify what has to be done, group them accordingly, and then assign charges. That is organizing. Clear? That is organizing. Then, what is the nature? Okay, what is the nature? The question might be, what might be the features? Okay. What is the nature of organizing? What are the features of organizing? So, it is first and foremost, it is goal-directed activity. The purpose of organizing is to accomplish the organization goal or objective. So, what was our aim? Our aim is to conduct the arts. So, it is we are organizing. We are forming committees to conduct arts. So, our aim is conducting the arts fest. So, our goal is, so we'll be organizing for that. So, it is extremely goal-directed activity. Then it is a differentiating activity. Differentiating activity means it involves identification and classification of activities into variety of process and activities for accomplishing the goal. So, as we said earlier, our aim is to conduct the arts. So, we need to identify what and all has to be done. We need stage, we need good programs, we need a screening committee, we need finance. Okay? Budget has to be monitored. We need transportation. Then we need to identify what has to be done. What has to be done? We need to identify what has to be done. Right? Then we need to classify. So we can see we have on stage and off stage. So we can either give them as two different departments and give charge to a third person. Like that, we need to identification, classification has to be done. So this is differentiating the activities. Then the grouping activity. So involves grouping of activities into manageable units like department, teams, etc. Again, what we have done, we have grouped, we have identified, we have classified, and we have grouped it into various small committees. Then assigning or delegating the activity involves the assignment of groups to different authorities with necessary authority to oversee their performance. Okay? So we will be assigning in our stage committee, we will be assigning one person as in charge. So he has to. So he'll be the manager. He can call him as a supervisor or anything. So he'll be. And we are assigning him. Also, we are giving him authority also. So he can decide for that. Okay. What has to be done, he can decide. But he may be answerable to someone else. But he's having the authority to see their performance. If someone is doing something wrong, he has the authority to correct them. He can correct them. Then integrating activity involves the proper coordination of various departments to achieve the goal. Okay. So it's an integrating activity. So we have different committees. We have stage committee, we have green room committee, we have on stage, we have off stage. Like that, we have different committees. But all these things should be integrated, right? The stage should be if a program is on 20th, at least by 19th, the stage should be completed, right? By 20th, if our program starts, we are planning to schedule programs from 10 o'clock. The judges should be there judges should be there by 10. The judge should be inauguration if it is at 9. The judge should be there by 9. So then only we can move as per schedule, right? So it has to be done. So we have various departments. We had identified, we had classified, and we have grouped into various departments. Now what we have to do, we have to connect all of them. That's also part of organizing. We need to connect every single organization. Then only if one program ends, the next program will start. Similarly, see now last year you had a subject. Now as soon as the subject ended, because another teacher came and took a new class. It's so interconnected. Then it's a dynamic and constantly evolving activity. Okay? Organizing changes immediately depending upon the significant changes in organization environment. Okay? So everything in management is dynamic because it may change. Because what we are doing is we are predicting the forecasting and doing for future. Right? We're doing it for tomorrow. So what will happen? Tomorrow is uncertain. There will be some changes. Okay? Maybe the costume, next dance should be conducted. Okay, program has to be scheduled. We have scheduled for dance program, but some what is the by some means and a wardrobe is not available. Or something a wardrobe malfunction. Okay? So he or she cannot go on stage. Okay, so we need to adjust it. So it's completely dynamic. It is constantly evolving depending upon what our environment is. We need to change. Sometimes suddenly rain came down. Okay? It was not supposed to rain. Rain came down. Right? The speaker didn't work. Speaker suddenly speaker shut down. Okay? So there may be technical issues. There may be some other issues. So they may be. I'm not saying they will be, but they may be. So we have to be organizing should be dynamic. It should be constantly evolving. Yeah. So what is organizing? Organizing means a process of grouping of various activities to be done and assigning duties and responsibilities for people in those groups. Okay. We need to identify what is to be done, then we have to assign charges, assign responsibility to those people to complete a task. Okay. And what is the nature of organization? Organizing, first and foremost, is it is goal directed. We are working for a goal. Then it is differentiation activity. We are dividing the entire arts into different sections, right? When we see, like, you can take an example of Manipuri. You have the puri, you will have the water, you will have the masala, everything will be there. So once everything comes together, it becomes Manipuri. Otherwise, everything is different. So it's a differentiated activity. So if you want to make Manipuri at home, you need to buy the puri. You need to buy the balls, or you need to make the balls. You need to prepare the pani. You need to prepare the masala, right? We are differentiating. The next thing is we are grouping. All these things have to be grouped. Involves grouping of activities into manager. What and all has to be done. So in grouping, the potatoes and everything will be served for masala. The water, the pudina and everything comes for pani. The means puri, the oil, everything comes under puri. So we are grouping the activities. Now we are assigning and delegating the activities. We will be assigning a person in charge. We will be giving you are in charge for this purpose. Okay? You have to do this. And what is the case over there? Once he's doing that, he is also having the authority. Okay? He's also having the authority to fulfill, to take, to oversee, to correct, to take decisions. Then it's an integrating activity. Okay? Different activities we differentiated and grouped into different. Now we need to bring all of them together, because once then the curtain lifts off, a program should be there. Okay? When one program ends, immediately the next program should start. Otherwise, there will be lag. The schedule will get disrupted. So it has to be integrated. Next, it is dynamic and constantly evolving. So conditions will change. Sometimes, usually, what happens? You might also for the dance program, we will bring a pen drive. Okay? We'll bring a pen drive. We'll connect it. So the pen drive is not working. Song is not there. It's corrupted. Right? Like that, issues will come. So you need to. It is constantly evolving. There will be changes. The changes will be there. So we need to address them accordingly. Clear? This is the nature. Next thing is organization levels and span of management. Okay? Levels exist because there is a limit to the number of persons a manager can supervise effectively. Right? How many persons can be supervised? Your class coordinator, staff coordinator, she can monitor all 40, 50 of them together. Okay? But what happens when you do a project? When you do a project, we will be assigned two groups to one staff. Okay, one or two groups into, we'll divide you into certain groups. Then that will be assigned to staff, because their supervision, effective supervision varies, right? So that is why organization level. We see organization level in detail later. We start with span of management. So span of management also is known as span of control. Okay, the question might be span of management, span of control of management, like that, which might come. Okay, span of management refers to the number of employees reporting to a single manager. Okay, so how many persons are answering to one manager? Okay, it is subordinates which are directly under their supervision. So how many numbers are there? Okay, how many people are under me? I am a supervisor, how many people are there? Okay, that is span of management or span of control. It is the number of employees reporting to single manager. So if I am a manager, how many people reports to me? Okay, that's known as span of management. Yeah, എത്ര ആള് എന്നിൽ report ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്? How many people reports to me? Okay. If I am a supervisor. So what are the factors affecting span of management? So actually there are two span of management. We'll see them. There is wide and narrow. Okay, wide span of management and narrow span of management. Or greater span of management or lower span. Okay, more and less basically. Okay, wider span of management means more people will see this figure. So here the first one is wider span of on the top left corner. Okay, wide span of on the top. You can see. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 persons are reporting to one supervisor. Okay, so number has increased. Now look at the bottom here. Only 1, 2, 3, and 4. Four people are reporting to one supervisor. So top it is wide because more numbers. It is the greatest span of control. Okay, more number of people are reporting to one person. And bottom, that's only 4 persons are reporting to one person. Right? So that becomes narrow or small. Okay, narrow span of control. Clear? So type of span of control we shall see them in detail later. But for the time being, understand what is wide, what is narrow. Okay, what is greater span of control, what is lower span of control. Okay. So the span of control depends on what is nature of the work, what type of work are we doing. So if the work is routine or standardized, that is every day we are doing the same thing. Okay, everyone is doing the same thing. Like our pen company, we are preparing the same body, same cap, the same refill and same ink every day. So that is a routine. Right? Every day we are doing the same thing. So in that cases, we can have wide span of control. That means in that case, in that company, one person can supervise a large number. But if in our company, the changes frequently. Okay. So every time instructions are to be given like that, then we need lower span of control because instructions are to be given daily or maybe in hourly basis instructions have to be given. So in that case, I can one person cannot control large number of people. Okay, he may be able to control 4 or 5. Okay, the first case when the work is routine, daily they are doing the same job. Okay, they know what is to be done. In that case, one person can supervise 10, 20%. But if it is to be done, if the work is constantly evolving, constantly changing, then what happens? We'll be having lesser time. Okay, so lower span of control is needed. That is, one person we can supervise only a few number, maybe 4, maybe 5, like that. So that depends on the nature of the work. Next, second one is the clarity of plans and responsibility. Okay, clarity of plans and responsibility means what are we going to do? Is it clear? Okay, if an organization, in an organization, the responsibilities, the plans, everything or the plans, the procedure, if everything is clear, then we can have wide span of control because everyone knows what has to be done, what is our policy. Right? So in our if the textile business, the company, we have a policy of returning and they can exchange the goods. Okay? We know what is the procedure. Every staff knows what is the procedure. Everything is very clear. If it is within 1 week, then if there is bill, there is the tag. The procedure are very well defined. It is very clear. In that case, one supervisor can manage 20% because everyone knows what is to be done. Right? But if it is not clear, then that person has to go and ask the manager. The manager has to discuss it like that. In that cases, manager we have to have lower span of control because the manager may not be able to communicate with all 20 of them. In that case, he may be able to communicate with 4 or 5. Okay? So clarity of plans and responsibility. Third one is capacity of the person involved. Basically, it will depend upon the person who is taking the charge, right? So manager, if I am a capable person, okay, if I am a capable person, I may be able to supervise 20%. Okay, but if I'm not, what can then we have to one way is change me. Okay? to replace me, or else to hire someone else to share my workload. Okay? It will depend on the staff, depend on the manager also. Okay? If I am extremely capable, if I can manage 20 persons, then well and good, I can do the job. But if I am not able to do it, the management might have to replace me, or else they might have to hire someone to share my workload. Okay. Then time. Time is also very important. See, because if we say you guys are doing projects, right? So what happens? There are 10 batches. Okay, 10. Suppose there are 10 batches in your class, and 10 of you, all 10 of you are doing different projects, right? And all 10 of you are assigned to one single person, right? So whenever you are doing your project, it's not like it's your job, right? So you'll have a lot of queries, doubts, you'll have questions, and these questions have to be answered. So you might not find the answers in net or textbooks. So you'll have to go and ask for your guide for your help. What happens is that 10 different groups are there. Okay, 4 members each, 40 person. So 40 persons will be going to one single person. So what will happen? The guide, he or she might not have time to accommodate all of you. Okay, when you go, okay, you might have to wait in line. Okay, let's say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm dealing with this issue right now. I'll deal with it later. Okay, this later will come later. So time, how much time is available for the manager is also a factor. So if suppose if I am having only 2 batches with me, if I am having only 2 batches with me, so I may be able to efficiently okay, so if I am having only 2 batches, so suppose you have 5 guides are there. So all the guides are then 2 batches each. So what will happen when one batch is available? The guide says, you can just wait for 5 minutes. I'll deal with that, and I'll deal with you. Or else both of you come together. We'll have a discussion. Right? So time will also play an important role. Next is geographical distribution. So that means where you are. Okay? Where you are. That's also important, because sometimes what will happen is you might be in sales department. Okay? So your company will be maybe located in Kannur, and the employee, you might be in Kashmir. The manager is at Kannur, and you are working in Kashmir. Right? So geographically, you are very far away. With the advent of technology, if you have the smartphone and everything, you can communicate effectively, but physically, the supervisor may not. Okay? What will happen? The employee says, oh, sorry, yes, I am in field. Okay? I am in field. So what? He might be sitting in his home. Okay? Supervisor will call, okay, Danya, where are you? Okay? So Danya will say, okay, sir, I am in field. I am traveling. Yes, she will say. Okay? But what might be done, he might be sitting in her home. So effectively, physically, we may not be able to supervise. So geographic distribution also is as we consider. So what can be done effectively? That is, we should have a supervisor in Kashmir also. Okay? Then we have better supervision. Right? So that will also have a play. Clear? So what are the nature or what are the factors affecting span of management versus what type of work it is? Okay? If it is repetitive, if it is a common type of work, that is a standardized work, then we can have greater span of control. Greater span of control means one supervisor, many subordinates, or one person is supervising many people. Greater, wide. Okay, that's the meaning. Big. Okay? If our work is evolving, if continuously changing, then at that time we should have lower span of control. That means we should be able to have lesser number of people should be supervised by one person. Okay. Then clarity and responsibility. Clarity of plans and responsibility. Clarity if the plans and responsibilities, the procedures, the policies, everything is clear, can again have wider span of control. Or else we need to have go for narrow span of control. Okay. Then capacity of person. If the manager is capable, wide span of control can be adopted. But if it is not, we will have to go for narrow span of control. Then time. How much of time does the manager have? If he can allocate time efficiently, then again wide span of control may be good. But if not, again we need to have narrow span of control. Okay, narrow span means here we have to reduce the number of persons under his supervision. Then geographical distribution, physically where they are. So physically we may not be able to supervise them, so there is chances of malpractice or bad works. Okay, chances of efficiency, whether they might be efficient, but when nobody is there to supervise them, they'll have the same thing when you are in your home and when you are at hostel. So when you are at home, there is constant supervision. The mom or the dad, he or she will always be there to look into you. But when you are in hostel, nothing, no one is there. So you'll be free. You can do whatever you want. The same way. Geographical distribution can be taken. So you being at home and you being at hostel. Okay. Now, what are the types of management? Types of span of management. We have seen, right? There are two types of. There's wide span of control, in which one manager can supervise and control effectively a large number of persons at one time. Okay, so here we can see. So the top first one is wide span of control. Here, one person is control supervising 8. So a single supervisor is supervising 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 persons. So this is the wide span of control. Okay, in the bottom, one supervisor is having only 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that is narrow span of management, narrow span of control. Right? So wide span of control is the one in which a manager can supervise and control effectively a large group of persons at one time. Okay, so single-handedly you can control and supervise effectively a large number. So this is also called operative span. You might remember when we are talking about the plans, we had levels of management. We had top level, middle level, and lower level, and the plans were strategic plan, tactical plans, and operating plan. Right? The lower level, they are concerned with operating. How we are going to achieve, like the 100 pens we need, 1000 pens we need to make. What are the facilities and how 1000 pens are made? That is decided by operating plan. So this level, so this span is also known as operative span because it's primarily for lower level of managers. Now, what are the advantages? There's overhead cost of supervision. Okay, the wide span of control, we have one supervisor for 8. Okay, right? In the other case, we had 2 supervisors for 8 persons. Right? Each one had 4. Right? So in the first case, we had one supervisor for 8 persons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in the second case, what happened? We had 2 supervisors for the same number of persons. So 8 people are there, but we have 2 supervisors, right? So overhead cost means, like, see, apart from salaries and all, we have other charges also. Okay, so when one extra person comes, we need to have their laptops. Okay? We need to have insurance. They will need a space to sit. They need a space to work, right? Maybe transportation has to be provided. Okay? So extra charges will come. The insurance, other charges will come. That's overhead. The rent, taxes, everything will have to be added. That is overhead. Okay. So when we have only one supervisor for 8 persons, the overhead is, there will be overhead. But what happens when there's 2 supervisors? The overhead increases. Right? So the cost will increase. Then this wide span of control is suitable for repetitive jobs. So people know what has to be done, so they can do easily. So the supervisor also will know what has to be done, who does that. Right? Third one is feedback from workers will be more effective. So feedback, the workers can easily communicate with them, and the feedbacks can be implemented easily. Then clear policies must be made. We must have very clear policies. Then supervisors are forced to delegate. Okay, so what happens is, me being a supervisor, I have 8 persons under me. So sometimes what will, okay, you do this. I'll be trusting someone. Okay, I will trusting one person and say, okay, you can do this. So I am forced to delegate because I don't have another choice. Okay? Then subordinate selection must be carefully done. That is it. Because see, I am going to oversee 8 persons. The 8 people, when I'm overseeing 8 people, what happens? These 8 people I need to trust because I may be forced to delegate some works to this person. Okay, you might have seen that some persons who they will work very effectively, so they need not be supervised. But certain people in the class itself, okay, there are some students who will what they'll do the problem very clear and effectively. Okay, so the teacher might not. Okay, he will do that or she will do that. The teacher will have an opinion like that. Okay, in her mind, she will be made up. Some other person, okay, he will name my assistant. The teacher will go and stand by him, okay, and he will ask, "Yeah, ma'am, I reached here. What is it?" Okay, then teacher will help. Okay, so in the first case, what happened? The teacher trusted the person, and he or she will do the problem. Second, I need to help the person. So in the first case, I have delegated my role. So the teacher delegated his role to the student. Okay, that's delegation. Now what the subordinate selection must be also carefully done because sometimes because I need to control and I need to supervise a large number of persons. So all these persons should be trustworthy. They should be effective. They should have ethics. So that person selection should also be done very carefully, right? Then what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage tendency to overload the experience. Okay, see, 8 persons will come for advice from one single person. Right? So the 8 different decisions has to be made by the one single supervisor. So that will slow down the decision making because he might have to think about it. You cannot quickly you cannot say okay you do this. Okay, let me think about it. So the, think about it times 8 it will become. So it will become our decision making process will be slowed down. Then danger of superiors, loss of control. Okay? If 8 persons are to be controlled, 8 persons in 8 different locations. Okay? Maybe like what I said in Kashmir, she might be sitting in her home and say, okay, so I am working. There's a chance of that. No? The loss of control will be there. Then requires exceptional quality managers. Okay? That's a big problem. We may not have good quality managers to work about it, right? That's also a problem for that. So the narrow span of control, so again, opposite for the first one. Okay, so it is one which work and authority is divided among many subordinates. That is, a manager doesn't supervise and control very big group. Only a small group has to be supervised by the manager. Like that, wide we had 8, narrow we had small, 4. Okay? The manager supervises a selected number of employees at one time. What are the advantages? Close supervision and control. Because I have only 4 people to look into. I can look 4 people very carefully. Okay? The guide has to monitor only two project groups. The guide can do it more effectively. Then fast communication between subordinates and supervisors because you don't have to wait for them. Okay, I said earlier when 10 groups comes, I'll say you wait for some time. I'm dealing with this group. You come after some time. Okay? That time is not lost. I have only 2 groups. So fast communication between then specialized works can be done because the guide because the supervisor can directly closely observe, then we can do better and better job. We can do complicated works, okay, specialized works. Then messages reach employee faster. Okay. Then disadvantages. Disadvantages, the superior gets too involved with the subordinate work. See, I am having only 2 groups under my guide sheet. Okay. So what will happen? I'll have very close monitoring of the 2 groups. So I can easily monitor and I can interfere in it. I will have a tendency to interfere. I'll say, okay, if you are doing this, if you are casting concrete for 28 days, he has testing the concrete for 28, we'll do something, we'll go for 56 days. Okay? We'll check what will happen. Then many levels of management are there. Okay? Many levels of management are there means therefore higher cost. People are increasing. Then excessive distance between lowest and top level. So both can be seen. Earlier you had the president, supervisor, and workers. But what happened in Narrow? You had a president, a level increased. Okay, a level has increased. A department head, a level increased. So there's more level came. So more person means it will be higher the cost, right? then the distance between. So if a president gives an order, the order should move to department head. The department head will move it, give it to supervisor. Supervisor will give it to worker. So the distance is longer. Okay, same way. If a worker is having a subordinate is having an issue, he first tell it to his supervisor. Supervisor will tell it to department head. Department head will convey it to president. So there is a long distance has to be traveled, right? Clear? Let me know if you have any doubt, and don't worry, we'll be seeing it again